What? Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the 17th episode of the show Power Rangers Zeo, as well as the 172nd episode overall, titled There's No Business Like Snow Business Part 3. We started this episode at the Power Chamber where Tommy, Kat, and Billy are there with the others, learning about what the greenhouse effect is. Pretty much the greenhouse effect is occurring, and they learn that Mondo is responsible. Stone is also giving an assignment to Bulk and Skull. They have to take care of Stone's flowers and garden, making sure nothing happens to them. Stone says that if anything happens, their careers won't be worth the fertilizer he has. I mean, what are they worth now? Mondo is observing the Earth, excited that the heat is going up, and he says that the shields around the power chamber will eventually melt away as well, leaving Zordon completely vulnerable. Also, Bulk and Skull are watering the flowers. Cool. Billy, Tommy, and Kat are getting ready to go. Heather shows up and she asks what's going on, and Tommy basically tells her it's super important or else he wouldn't be leaving. Then Heather gives him a peck on the cheek leaving, and Tommy's super awkward about everything. He also feels super bad for leaving things like this, and Kat bites her lip at this. At the power chamber, Billy talks to Alpha, who is getting mad because every time he almost tracks down the source of the heat wave, he loses it. He also says the heat shields are starting to fail, and Billy has an idea on what to do, but then he looks off screen telling Alpha to contact the others. At Stone's house, Bulk and Skull are practicing their Spanish because all the flowers are dead, so they're gonna have to run away to Mexico. Bulk has an idea though. The Rangers arrive in the power chamber and they find out that the Defoliator monster is already giant in the city, and it's the one causing this heat wave. Did no one notice this giant monster before? Whatever, it's morphin' time. The Rangers call out their Zeozords, forming the Zeo Megazord. They fight the monster, and this is 100% a scorpion monster. In the power chamber, things are getting overheated. Then Tanya gets in front, using her battle helmet to help them out a bit. Then Kat gets in front and center, and she spins around, creating a random ass windstorm before firing at it. Then Tommy gets back up front, using the Zeozord saber, killing the monster. The Rangers then run over to the monster's dead body, looking at it, celebrating. Also, he's definitely still alive. At the youth center, everyone except for Tommy is hanging out, talking about how they definitely brought in more trees to the area to help counteract the effect of the monster. Tommy's actually there too, working out. Didn't know that. Kat then gets an idea, and she makes sure that Ernie is still closing the place early for inventory. He is, and she has a plan. Also, Defoliator is fine, ready to go again. Ernie gives Tommy another letter, and after Tommy says, no more letters for me, he finally takes it, reading that his presence is requested for a formal dinner for 2 at Ernie's. Now it's time for a montage of Kat setting up a nice formal dinner for 2. Tommy then walks in a suit, smiling. He sits down, saying that he's kind of confused, and Kat acts as a waiter to Tommy. Tommy compliments her, letting her know that she looks amazing. Then freaking Heather walks in, and Kat says that the dinner guest has arrived. And Tommy's super confused because he clearly thought that he was about to go to the bone zone with Kat. Heather and Tommy sit down explaining how Kat called Heather, and she says that she wants to give him one more chance. Kat and Tanya are walking outside, and Tanya says it was super nice of her to do all that, and Kat says, I don't know if it was really nice or really stupid. And Tanya asks what she means, and Kat says, forget it. Then Defoliator shows up, and Tanya screams at him about how he should definitely be dead. It's morphin' time. The 2 girls take on the monster, and they're doing their best, but they're struggling against this monster, getting tossed down some stairs. Also, Tanya definitely gets stung by a scorpion stinger on this plant monster. Kat calls for help. Rocky and Adam show up at the youth center, and they call Tommy over, and Tommy has to awkwardly tell Heather that he's gotta leave. Man, this is the most cringeworthy thing to watch because Heather is pissed, talking about how long it took her to drive down there. Tommy apologizes, leaving. Meanwhile, Kat and Tanya are getting their asses handed to them, but then the other Rangers show up to help them. I feel like they could have just waited to call Tommy until they definitely just needed him, but okay. Adam and Rocky get hit away, as does Tommy, before he goes straight for Kat and Tanya, flipping them around. The monster says that he plans to grow giant and does exactly what he was going to do. In the power chamber, Billy says that he souped up the Zeo Blaster. The Rangers then bring it out in an entirely different environment, firing at the monster, blowing him up. At Stone's house, women are inspecting his flowers because this was all in preparation for some showing and competition. The women say that they're very nice, but they don't have a category for artificial flowers leaving. Stone is confused at first, and then he pulls the fake flowers out from under the ground, screaming at Bulk and Skull. In the youth center, Tommy and Kat are sitting there because I guess Heather got really mad and left. Kat apologizes for everything, and Tommy explains that it's going to take some time. Romantic music starts playing, and Kat says that she loves this song, and Tommy asks her to dance. Man, why is Tommy like just swimming in the poon these days, huh? Watch out, Tanya, you're next. The 2 dance together, and it's pretty clear that there's supposed to be a connection there, and Ernie is there with his inventory, saying that he loves happy endings. Honestly, the way he says it really sounds like Tommy's about to get an HJ on the dance floor. The end. This is the best episode that's really showing what the three-parter should have been about. Tommy's maybe forcing things with someone else, and Kat is trying to be a good friend even though she just wants him for herself. I know the actress who plays Kat, Catherine Sutherland, has never liked the fact that they made Kat be so into Tommy, and I understand that from an actor's perspective, but honestly she kind of makes it work. I think it'd be super easy for it to be weird and forced, but thankfully Catherine Sutherland is like too good of an actress to struggle with this type of material. Also, does anyone know what the hell happened to Heather? Because she definitely never comes back at all, so I have to assume that she left on her own accord and wasn't like abducted by Mondo or something. I mean, I'm sure she's fine. Although she might have died on her way back and we would never know. So next time, we're entering yet another Tommy arc. Yeah, if you thought this show was Tommy and his 4 friends before, Zeo's here to make you hold its beer while it shows you what the show could really be. But until then, may the power protect you.